Hey there, it's Maddie. Just figured I'd give a quick tour of the Internet Archive. Starting over here in the corner here, the owner of the archive, or founder, Brewster Kahle, really enjoys old 78 records. So we have a jukebox and everything. We also have the Internet Arcade with some games running on an old MAME machine and some zeros that run in an emulator. Here is the film digitization station and some of the book scanning stuff. I'll show you a scanner in a sec. And then here's our little stuff that we archive: old Edison cylinders, 78s, CDs, film of sorts, an old record player, some more cylinders, cuneiform tablet, books, old Rocket ebook reader, which I had one of those ages ago, Kindles, someone needs to charge that one, floppies, hard disks, our little merch store. Here's one of the book scanners. It's covered up so it's a little hard to see, but you can see there's a pedal down there that will lift the book tray up, and then there are two cameras up in the corners that will take a picture of each of the opposing pages and dump it into the scanner there. Some more books and some temporary tattoos from the public domain. We had a big event recently. Now I'm going to run up to the great room, which is the fancy pants thing. Now the archive is housed in an old church, an old Christian Science church. So we have, of course, all the trappings of a church from the pews on down. And you can see we keep the auditorium like this. We were going to turn it into a library, but the floor slopes downward, and that would be difficult to level out to put stacks in. Here you can see part of the archive, about 7 petabytes of the archive. I'm going to balance a little bit on the wall here. Every time one of those lights flashes, that's someone uploading or downloading something from the archive. So obviously that's a lot. We have about 40 or 50 petabytes of data. I think closer to 50 now. And that includes stuff in the Wayback Machine and also various other archived things, such as all the 78s and books and so on. Here's another 7.5 or whatever petabytes. Here's a little, we call it the boxing ring, a little work and meeting spot. And then, of course, the thing that everybody likes to point out and call a little creepy, once I get down here, are the fact that after 3 years of working at the archive, you get a statue. So there's all these little 3-foot tall statues of archivists just totally lining the walls of the archive great room. You can see over on the other side there's many, many more. It's a little creepy, given that they only come up to sort of the top of the pews there. But, can't say I haven't dreamed about what I would get mine of. On the wall here, where it would be the numbers of the hymns to read, you can see pi. And then over here, the some HTTP response codes, because we want to turn every 404 into a 200, plus 451, which is the taken down for legal reasons code, which is always a little crazy. Let's see, what else do we have? A few other cool things. All the seat cushions are old tech shirts that have been stuffed with foam to make them sittable. And over here we've got our seismograph, which is a plumb bob connected all the way up at the ceiling with a magnet on the end and a stack of old hard drives. So if there's an earthquake, the plumb bob will move and the hard drive will fall, which is not super efficient. This was the old Internet Archive appliance, that was given to the Library of Congress because everything in the Library of Congress has maybe had to have a physical component. We constructed one, since all our stuff is digital, with CRTs, and all the things on the side there are tapes. There's like a whole terabyte there. It's really impressive. When it's on, each CRT flashes an archived web page once or twice a second. So it's kind of impressive from a goofy standpoint. Now, I mentioned that this is an old church. This includes a pipe organ, which obviously is sealed. Part of the reason it's sealed is because the power or the wiring in this building and this block in general are so old that if you turn on the organ wrong, you can trip a breaker and you have a good chance of taking out power for the block, which is bad. Alright, so going behind the great room now, we've got some offices for, of course, the first reader. The second reader, this was the bedroom I stayed in when I was sleeping in the archive. And over here you can see another server room, nicely branded. The primary for the archive data lives in this building here. We have secondaries and tertiaries, one of which is in Richmond, and the other is in somewhere else. I don't remember. There's also one in Amsterdam. Let's see if I can make it down here. Some networking stuff. Hopefully the lights are on. The lights are not on. Here you can see the hot side of the other two server rooms. A bit messy. Try not to show people your cable routing. And I don't know if I can get the light here, but might be able to be cool in the dark. Oh, the light turns on. Yeah, so you can see that here's the cold side of the racks. We don't do any active cooling. We rely on the fact that the Bay Area is generally a pretty cool temperature year-round. So what we do is we punch a hole in the ceiling and rely on the fact that the back wall of the great room has tracery, so that it just pulls air in from outside and manages to keep all the servers at about 65 degrees, which is pretty good. So yeah, we don't do any active cooling or anything. It's a pretty lightweight thing. We have 2 fiber lines coming in here, which we get at great discount because we are a public good organization, and the government generally likes us because we do so much work for them. Now, let's see, I'm going to turn off the lights of the great room and head downstairs real quick. Now, we don't all work in the great room. Obviously, that would be super uncomfortable. So we use the Sunday school area, which I'm going to try and be a little quiet because there are people still working, even though it's 7:30. So you can see all of our desks. And that sign in the back says about how many bytes we've archived. Currently it's sitting at 40 petabytes, or 40 quadrillion bytes. Here's our cyber. In our network closet. Again, not supposed to show people your cable routing, right? And then we've got, just bathrooms and such. So that's a little tour of the archive.